Okay, thank you very much for that, and welcome to everyone for our practice day slash mini retreat. So my thought is that we will do two practice sessions combining the prostrations of 35 Buddhas as well as the Vajrasattva. In between the two, we'll have a short break, uh, give an opportunity for some questions, clarifications about the practice. And then there is also a few extra questions from before during the lectures. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to go through all of that, answer any remaining doubts. And then, yeah, we'll do another practice session and then end with dedication. How's that sound? Okay, so then in the beginning, as we always do, then we should set our motivation. And so now here in the prostration text itself, there is a motivation there. So I thought we could go through that, and that be the motivation for our lives, the retreat, as well as this kind of hybrid teaching and practice session. Okay. Okay. So please think in this way. The purpose of my life is to free the numberless sentient beings who are the source of all my past, present, and future happiness, temporary as well as ultimate, including all the realizations of the path, liberation from samsara, and enlightenment from all the oceans of samsaric suffering, including the causes, delusion, and karma. In order to do this, I must achieve full enlightenment. Therefore, I need to actualize the path. Therefore, I need to purify my negative karmas and downfalls. If I were now born in hell, it would be so unbearable. Even one tiny fire spark on my body is hundreds of thousands of times hotter than the entire whole fire energy in this world. It is so unbearable that experiencing it for even an instant is like suffering for many eons. I've created numberless causes to be reborn in the hell realms by creating the 10 non-virtuous actions countless times in this and beginningless past lives. I've created numberless causes to be born in the hell realms by breaking the Pratimoksha vow, by breaking the Bodhisattva vow, and by breaking the Tantra vow countless times in this and beginningless past lives. I've created numberless causes to be born in the hells by creating the heaviest negative karma in relation to the holy virtuous friends, by harming their holy bodies, disobeying their advice, disturbing their holy minds, having non-devotional thoughts, and giving rise to heresy and anger, which produce the greatest obstacles to achieving realizations and create the greatest suffering. Every single one of these negative actions has 4 suffering results: the ripened aspect result, rebirth in lower realms; the possessed result, the types of environments I experience when again born a human, the result similar to the cause as experience; and the worst one, the result similar to the cause as an action, which means that again and again, I am forced to create the same negative actions in the future, and again, I will have to experience the 4 suffering results. In this way, samsara has no end. Not only that, but karma increases. So even a small negative action can have huge suffering results. And karma is definite to be experienced. So every single negative action I've created will definitely bring its result, no matter how long it takes until it is purified. So from one negative karma, I have to experience the result over and over again for so many hundreds of lifetimes. Understanding this, how can I stand to live my life without purifying myself and getting rid of all these negative karmas, just as I would try to get rid of a deadly poison in my body. Not only that, but I'm going to die, and death can come, even today at any moment. Therefore, I must purify all my negative actions right this second. In order to do that, I'm going to do these prostrations with confession of a Bodhisattva's downfalls to the 35 Buddhas. I'm also going to do this so I can actualize the path and achieve full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So now here, the visualization is explained, but perhaps we can look at the picture. Right. Let's see. Okay. So that is the visualization. Now I'm going to try to leave that up. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, there's one thing I need to explain about the actual mechanics of prostrating. So I'm going to stop the share. Okay. So we started to get into this last time. So in general, there are 3 types of prostration. There's a mental prostration. That's the most important one. That is to, mentally pay homage by reflecting on the qualities of the object that you're prostrating to. And then the verbal prostration or paying homage is to then, recite the words, I prostrate, or sing various praises of the Buddha. And then the physical prostration is, actually the least, but that's the one that, sort of gets the most emphasis. So now here, as we said last week, then even the, people with bad knees or other kinds of physical ailments, then they can prostrate just with the hands. So we mentioned last week that, in India, when you say namaste, the thumbs are out, right? But here we put the thumbs inside. So there is some symbolism to this. On one level, right, on the kind of conventional level, you imagine that these thumbs is a wish granting jewel that you're offering to the Buddha or the object of refuge. Okay. Remember that the offerings that we make, the actually arranged as well as the merely, well, not merely, but imagined offerings have the same amount of, benefit and virtue. So we think that we're offering the wish granting jewel, the most precious of all the materials. And then the other symbolism, right? So if the palms are like this, right? Nothing in between, emptiness, like, but emptiness in a nothing is there, right? So by putting something inside, it's, showing the middle way between the two extremes of, not being totally nihilist, right? Nihilism being that, nothing exists, right? So there is something, right? maybe from this side, you can't tell, right? Just like us, ignorant sentient beings, the ultimate nature of phenomena, we can't tell. It's obscure to us. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And then of the physical prostrations, then there's the so-called 5-point prostration. And this is what you normally do before a teaching or later when you take ordination. And then the 5-point prostration is used. So why is it called 5 points? Well, it's because you're putting your 2 knees, your 2 palms, and your forehead on the ground. Okay. Now, one thing, putting the hands on the ground and is also done in the full length prostration. And one thing important to note, when you put your hands down on the ground, keep your palms together like this. Okay. It says in the text, if you have it like this, then it, again, extremely hidden phenomena, but it says it causes the rebirth as a being with webbed feet, like a duck, right? Webbed feet, Yeah. Or a duck-billed platypus, I'm not sure. Okay. So we don't want that, nor to have the hands as fists. That creates the cause to be reborn as a hoofed animal, like a horse, donkey, cow. We also don't want that. Okay. All right. So then, instead, just like this. Okay. So I think the 5 point. That's the kind of common one, right? Okay. Now, let's see. The either way, whether you're doing the 5-point prostration or the full-length prostration, you're going to first start with this prostration mudra. You touch it to the crown of the head, and there, if you are mindful, you can recall the guru. Okay, the guru is.
Sorry.
Oh, the guru, yes. So the guru of all the 3 jewels of refuge is the kindest, right? Because as they say, so countless Buddhas have appeared in the past, but we haven't been subdued by them. So now our guru, who hasn't abandoned us yet and is still remaining in the world to teach us and guide us, therefore, although there are countless Buddhas, we haven't been directly sort of benefited by them. But since our guru is the one who is actually enacting the deeds that benefit us directly, then he or she is the most kind. So we recall the guru and put on the crown. This, they say, is the cause for attaining the Ushnisha of the Buddha. And then we'll touch 3 parts of our body, okay, in between the brow, here, right? So that actually symbolizes the body, okay? And then here at the throat, the speech, and then at the heart, the mind, okay? So then we can think that we're prostrating. Sometimes you'll see in the commentaries, I prostrate with my 3 doors. The 3 doors are body, speech, and mind. Okay. All right. Then go down to the ground. Now, let's see. I'm going to adjust my camera so you can actually see me on the ground. Yeah. Okay. Unplugging. And then something like this. How's that? Okay. So you already know what to do with the hands. Okay. So up like this. Then when you come down, okay, put your hands down first. Some people, they tend to come down with the knees first.
The purpose of my life is to free the numberless sentient beings who are the source of all.
Okay. Okay, that's coming later. Okay, so come down with the hands first, not the knees. Some people come down with the knees, and then if you're doing, thousands of prostrations, it puts a lot of strain on them. Okay, so that's practical. Come down with the hands first, then the knees. Okay, and so if you're just doing the 5-point prostration, then you're just coming like this, come up, and then back, right? But if you're doing the full-length prostration, hands down, the knees, okay, and then extend the body out. Okay, so you extend the body out like this, okay, and then put the hands in front. And then some people you'll see, okay, you put the prostration mudra again, and then you put it over the head like this,
and then down. But at the very least, it says you should lift the palms like this off of the earth. Okay? And then, bring your arms back, do a little push-up, good for the triceps, and then come back up again. You got it? Okay.
Okay. So one other point that is there in the commentaries is when one does the prostrations, one should come up very quickly and not just rest there on the ground. The symbolism is, we want to be liberated quickly from samsara. The other bit of symbolism, now this is normally I hear when you're doing just a 5-point prostration, but when you come up with your hands, sort of brush the ground, kind of drag your fingertips along the ground as you come up, okay? And then think that you are kind of dragging the sentient beings out of the lower realms. Okay? All right. Then, of course, the other aspects of the visualizing having not just one, but many bodies, visualizing the bodies to be huge, covering all the atoms of the earth. And that is also there. You can also imagine that all the sentient beings are prostrating along with you. Okay? And that would be very good and auspicious. Okay? Great. So now, let me... Okay. Okay, so first with the, you can start the prostrations. We're starting with the multiplication mantras. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, precious victory banner, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, precious victory banner, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, precious victory banner, I prostrate. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakedurajaya Tathagata Arate Samesam Buddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rane Bizaya Soa. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakedurajaya Tathagata Arate Samesam Buddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rane Bizaya Soha. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakedurajaya Tathagata Arate Samesam Buddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rane Bizaya Soha. O Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha. O Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha. O Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha. Oh, I think I found out the way to do. Okay, hold on. Let's see if this works. Homage to the confession of a Bodhisattva's downfalls.
Can you hear that?
I, throughout all times, take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. To the Guru, Teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, I prostrate. To Tathagata, thoroughly destroying with Vajra essence, I prostrate. To Tathagata, radiant. To Tathagata, King, Lord of the Nagas, I prostrate.
To Tathagata, army of heroes, I prostrate.
So remember,
to Tathagata,
remember
delighted
to
hero, I
recite the
prostrate.
names yourself. Recite the names yourself.
To Tathagata, delighted fire, I prostrate. To Tathagata, jewel moonlight, I prostrate. To Tathagata, meaningful to see, I prostrate. To Tathagata, jewel moon, I prostrate. To Tathagata, stainless one, I prostrate. To Tathagata, bestowed with courage, I prostrate. To Tathagata, pure one, I prostrate. To Tathagata, bestowed with purity, I prostrate. To Tathagata, water god, I prostrate. To Tathagata, deity of the water god, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious goodness, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious sandalwood, I prostrate. To Tathagata, infinite splendor, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious light, I prostrate. To Tathagata, sorrowless glory, I prostrate. To Tathagata, son of non-craving, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious flower, I prostrate. To Tathagata, pure light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To Tathagata, lotus light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious wealth, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious mindfulness, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious name, widely renowned, I prostrate. To Tathagata, king holding the victory banner of foremost power, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious one, totally subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata, utterly victorious in battle, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious transcendence through subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious manifestations, illuminating all, I prostrate. To Tathagata, all subduing, jewel lotus, I prostrate. To Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King of the Lord of Mountains, firmly seated on jewel and lotus, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, Renowned glorious King of excellent signs, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King of melodious sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with jewels, moon, and lotus, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, stainless excellent gold, illuminating jewel, who accomplishes all conduct, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious Supreme One, free from sorrow, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, melodious ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King, clearly knowing by play, of supreme wisdom of an ocean of Dharma, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, medicine guru, King of Vaidurya light, I prostrate.
Oh. Okay. So now, we go on to the actual confession prayer. So what you can do is, so often, this is done from a kneeling position. You can do that. Otherwise, yeah, you can sit down. You can also continue to prostrate if you so wish, especially when you have it memorized, then it's very good. Okay. All you, 35 Buddhas, 7 medicine Buddhas, and others, as many Tathagatas, Arhats, perfectly complete Buddha Bhagavans as they are abiding, living, and residing in all the world systems of the 10 directions. All you Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and all states of rebirth, which I have circled in samsara from beginningless lives, whatever negative actions I have created, may those create or rejoice in the creation of whatever possessions of holy objects of offering, possession of the Sangha, or possessions of the Sangha of the 10 directions I have appropriated, may those appropriate or rejoice in the appropriation of whichever among the 5 heavy negative karmas without break I have done, caused to be done, or rejoice in the doing of whichever of the 10 non-virtuous paths of actions I have engaged in, caused others to engage in, or rejoice in the engaging of whatever I have done, being obscured by these karmas that causes me to be reborn, to be born as a sentient being in the hell realm, in the animal realm, or in the preta realm, in a religious country as a barbarian or as a long-life god, with imperfect faculties, holding wrong views, or not being pleased with Buddha's descent. In the presence of the Buddha Bhagavans, who are transcendental wisdom, who are eyes, who are witnesses, who are valid, and who see with omniscient consciousness, I admit and confess all these negative actions. I do not conceal them nor hide them, and from now on, in the future, I'll abstain and refrain from committing them again. All Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and all those states of rebirth in which I've circled in samsara from beginningless lives, whatever roots of virtue I've created by generosity, even as little as giving just one mouthful of food to a being born in the animal realm, whatever roots of virtue I've created by guarding morality, whatever roots of virtue I've created by following pure conduct, whatever roots of virtue I've created by fully ripening sentient beings, whatever roots of virtue I've created by generating bodhicitta, and whatever roots of virtue I have created by my unsurpassed transcendental wisdom, all these assembled and gathered, then combined together, I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed, the unexcelled, that higher than the high, that superior to the superior. Thus, I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly complete enlightenment, just as the past Buddha Bhagavans have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddha Bhagavans will fully dedicate, and just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavans are fully dedicating, like that, I too dedicate fully. I confess all negative actions individually. I rejoice in all merits. So here, just to pause and rejoice a little bit more extensively. So meditate on rejoicing, thinking of all the virtuous actions you've done in the past, then all the virtuous actions that you know or can imagine that others have done, particularly the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Just thinking how wonderful it is, how wonderful that others have engaged in virtuous activities, virtuous actions. I urge and request all Buddhas, may I achieve the supreme, holy, and peerless transcendental wisdom. To the conquerors, the best of humans, who are living in the present time, who lived in the past, and who will likewise come, all those whose qualities are vast as an infinite ocean, with hands folded, I approach for refuge. Then going on to the general confession. So we can do this as well. So each negative action that we enumerate here, you should generate very strong regret and think that you've done it not just once, but numerous times from beginningless rebirth. And then also meditate on negative, the emptiness of the negative karma. Woe is me, great Guru Vajrasattva, all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who abide in the directions, and all the Venerable Sangha, please pay attention to me. I, who am named, Tenzin Namjo, circling a cycle of existence from beginningless time until the present, overpowered by delusions such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance, by means of my body, speech, and mind, have committed the 10 non-virtuous actions, committed the 5 heavy negative karmas without break, and committed the 5 nearing heavy negative karmas without break. I've transgressed the vows of individual liberation, transgressed the vow of Bodhisattva, and transgressed the samaya of secret mantra. I've been disrespectful to my parents, disrespectful to my Vajra masters and my abbot, and disrespectful to my spiritual friends living in ordination. I've committed actions harmful to the 3 rare sublime ones, abandoned the holy Dharma, criticized the Arya Sangha, harmed sentient beings, and so on. These and many other non-virtuous negative actions I've done, cause others to do, have rejoiced in others doing, and so forth. In the presence of the great Guru Vajradhara, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who abide in the 10 directions and the Venerable Sangha, I admit this entire collection of faults and transgressions that are obstacles to my own higher rebirth and liberation, and causes of psychic existence and lower realms. I do not conceal them, and I accept them as negative. I promise to refrain from doing these actions again in the future. By confessing and acknowledging them, I will attain and abide in happiness, while by not confessing and acknowledging them, true happiness will not come. So then you can sit down comfortably. And then we can do this visualization. So think that through the force of reciting the names of the 35 Buddhas and 7 medicine Buddhas, through the power of their pure prayers and vows, through the power of your regret and other opponent forces, and through the power of your having done these prostrations, nectars and light rays descend from the holy bodies of the Buddha. All the negative karma, obscurations, and imprints collected on your mental continuum from beginningless rebirths are completely purified. Generate strong faith that your mind has become completely pure. Then sealing the purification by reflecting on emptiness. So in the Arya Bodhisattva's meditative equipoise that is single-pointedly absorbed in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma, no action of creating negative karma, and no negative karma created. So we can then do this mantra of pure morality. It's chanted like this. Om Amoga Shila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bibhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. Om Amoga Shila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bibhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. Om Amoga Shila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bibhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bhubhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bhubhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shuddha Sabha Pema Bhubhu Gita Puja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Hum Pe Soha. By abiding in fullness morality of the rules, completely pure morality, and morality free from conceit, may I complete the perfection of morality. Okay, I heard the sound was a bit low. Is that better? No? Yes? So? Okay, hold on. Ah. That should now be better. Oh my gosh, okay. Thank you for your patience. It's new technology. And so, yeah, it's, I had the mic plugged in, but it still was taking the mic signal from my webcam. But the mic is actually right here below, 3 inches. So I was talking like, and my headphones is directly into the mic. So I'm like, oh yeah, nice. I got my radio voice on. Anyway, okay. Okay. So anyway, at the end of the every purification practice we do, it's very important to have the thought that all your negative karma accumulated since the beginning of this time are completely purified. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the Vajrasattva meditation, but I forgot my water over there. So I'm going to get it. If you need to get a drink, yeah, 1 minute. That one was easier. I had muted myself. Okay, so yeah. So let us continue with the Vajrasattva meditation. Okay. Seated on your right side is your father, on your left side, your mother. Your enemies and the sentient beings who disturb you are seated in front of you. Your friends and those to whom you are attached are seated behind you. All other sentient beings in human form surround you. Visualize the objects of refuge in the space in front of you with either the elaborate visualization, the one into many, as in George Chit, or the simple visualization of the many into one, that is, all the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha in one aspect of Buddha Shakyamuni. As you recite this verse, think that you are taking refuge in generating bodhicitta together with all sentient beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly by my merits of generosity and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So next, the power of regret. So we've done a bit of this at the beginning. So yeah, let's just do this in a more abbreviated way. So then reflecting on all the negative karmas that we've accumulated since beginningless time. So then thinking about all the 10 non-virtues, all the broken vows, and all the heavy negative karma in relation to our parents, the three jewels, as well as our gurus. Thinking about how those cause rebirth in lower realms, as well as serving as obstacles for us to attain the realizations of the path. And then thinking about impermanence and death. So death is definitely going to come, but the time of death is most uncertain. It could be that we even die today without having fully purified our negative karmas. Then even one negative karmic imprint could lead us to be reborn in the lower realms for a very, very long period of time. Therefore, while we still have the opportunity, we must purify. And then to relate it to bodhicitta, so that, yeah, it's not just for ourselves, but thinking about the numberless sentient beings, every single hell being, hungry ghost, animal, human being, sura, asura, intermediate state being, who have been our mothers, not just once, but countless times from beginningless rebirth. So now they are still drowning, as it were, in the ocean of samsara. And so now that we have the perfect human rebirth, we've met with the Dharma, we've met with these supreme methods to transform our minds and purify our minds. It's not enough that we just do this for our own benefit, but rather think that we're doing this for every single sentient being. So now the visualization. So yeah, here in the notes, I'm not sure if anyone has had a Hatha Yoga Tantra initiation, in which case you would visualize the father-mother aspect of Vajrasattva. Otherwise, just the solitary aspect of Vajrasattva, right hand holding a Vajra at his heart, and the left resting on his thigh, actually sort of at the hip, and holding a bell. So then visualize like this: above the crown of my head, seated upon a lotus and moon, are Vajrasattva father, mother. Their holy bodies are white with one face and two arms. Vajrasattva holds a Vajra and bell. I'm going to just do it, the simple one. Vajrasattva is adorned with 6 mudras. He sits in the Vajra posture. Vajrasattva is my guru, the holy mind of all the Buddhas, the Dharmakaya. Out of unbearable compassion encompassing me and all other sentient beings, my root guru appears in this form to purify me and all sentient beings. So very important to think that it is our guru who is now appearing in this aspect of Vajrasattva. So next, the power of the remedy. So then at Vajrasattva's heart, there is a moon disk, upright syllable, hum, encircled by the garland of the 100-syllable mantra. A powerful stream of white nectar flows from the hum and the mantra garland, entering the crown of my head and filling my entire body. All my negative karmas, obscurations, sicknesses, and spirit harms are completely purified. So here, the mantra. Okay, so this session we'll do 21. Okay, we'll do more in subsequent sessions, and we'll do it in a chanting way, so we can, learn a bit of the pronunciation. But you should know. I mean, it is said that the Buddhas understand the meaning behind a sort of mute person's grunts. It's a Tibetan saying, okay? So a lot of people, especially this mantra, the Tibetans, they pronounce Vajrasattva benza sato. And then, there's different kind of nuances in the pronunciation, and, strictly speaking, the way Tibetans do it, it's not in keeping with the Sanskrit pronunciation. But the most important thing is to, have the faith, right? Have the faith that our guru is inseparable from Vajrasattva. Have total faith in the practice that, through reciting this mantra, the blessings of Guru Vajrasattva will enter your heart, and all of your negative karmas of yourself, as well as all sentient beings, will be completely purified through the power of this practice. Okay. Then last time we went through the meaning of the mantra, but basically it is saying, Vajrasattva, please, continue to guide me, lead me to enlightenment. That's it. Okay. So yeah, that's the essence of it. It's a request to your Guru Vajrasattva to purify your mind and give you all the realizations to enlightenment. Okay. Now, as we do this, okay, so this is the standard, right, visualization that, the nectar enters down through the crown of our head, and then, completely purifies all these negative karmas. As we do that, it's also good. We can think that then the negative karmas leave through our lower doors, right? And it leaves an aspect of kind of sludge, black sludge. And then it's also good to think that then there's a crack in the ground behind us. And the crack opens up, all that black sludge enters it, and in that crack is the Lord of Death, Yama. And the sludge, he eats it and actually becomes very satisfied. with the kind of remnants of our negative karma. And because he's satisfied, he then leaves us alone and, doesn't cause untimely death. Okay. All right. Ahum pe om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva tenopa dira dira me bhava sutokayo me bhava supokayo me bhava anurata me bhava savasiri me payacha savakava sucha me chitam shiram kuruhum ha ho bhagavan savatata gata vajra mame muncha vajra bhava ma samaya sapa ahum pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Dido Dido Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurato Me Bhava Savasire Me Payacha Savakava Juja Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajra Mame Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Dido Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Subhokaya Me Bhava Anarata Me Bhava Savasiddhi Me Payacha Savakava Sucha Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajra Mame Muncha Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Dido Me Bhava Sutakayo me bhava, supokayo me bhava, anurato me bhava, savasiri me bhayaja, savakava suja me, chitam shiyam kuruhum, ha 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 ho bhagavan, savatata gada vajama me muja vaja bhava ma samaya, sava ahum be om vajasava samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva tenopa diro me bhava, sudokayo me bhava, sudokayo me bhava, anurata me bhava, savasiri me paecha, savakama suja me, chitam shiram kuruhum ha ha ho bhagavan, savatata gata vajama me muja vaja bhava ma samaya, sava ahum be. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kurum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajramama Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Subhakaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Subhakaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kurum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kurum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Subhakaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Sutokaya Me Bhava Anurata Me Bhava Savasiri Me Bhayacha Savakava Suja Me Chitam Shiram Kuruhum Ha O Bhagavan Savatata Gata Vajrama Me Muja Vajra Bhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Diro Me Bhava Sudakaya me bhava, Subhakaya me bhava, Ananata me bhava, Savasiri me bhava, Savakavasya me, Chiram Jim Guru Om Hao Bhagavan. Savadada Gada Vajama me Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denama Dira me bhava. Sudakaya me bhava, Subhakaya me bhava, Ananata me bhava, Savasiri me bhava, Savakavasya me, Chiram Jim Guru Om Hao Bhagavan. Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Malabalaya Vajasava Denaba Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Subhakaya Meva Anarada Meva Savasiri Meva Savakavajame Jim Jim Guru Om Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Malabalaya Vajasava Denaba Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Subhakaya Meva Anarada Meva Savasiri Meva Savakavajame Chitam Shim Kurum Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Malabalaya Vajasava Denaba Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Chitam Shim Kurum Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Savakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Vajasava Samaya Manabalaya Vajasava Denava Dirameva Sudakaya Meva Sudakaya Meva Ananda Meva Savasiri Meva Savakama Jim Guru Hao Bhagavan Savadada Gada Vajama Muja Vajabhava Mahasamaya Sava Ahum Be Om Vajasava Samaya Malobalaya Vajasava Tenoba Dira Me Baba Sudakayo Me Baba Subakayo Me Baba Anorato Me Baba Savasire Me Bayaja Savakava Sucha Me Chitam Shiram Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sava Tata Gada Vaja Mame Musa Vaja Baba Ma Samaya Safa Ahum Pe. Then we can also do the short Vajrasattva mantra. Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Vajrasattva Hum, Vajrasattva Hum, Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum. Through ignorance and delusion, I have broken and degenerated my commitments. Guru, be my savior and refuge. Lord, holder of the Vajra, endow with great compassion. In you, the foremost of beings, I take refuge. Then the power of restraint. Before Guru Vajrasattva, I vow never again to commit those negative actions from which I can easily abstain. I vow not to commit those negative actions from which I find it difficult to abstain for. And then, you can mention, even a minute. Then generating faith at having been purified from the crown of my head, Guru Vajrasattva says, son of a lineage, your negative karma, obscurations, and broken and generated samayas have been completely purified. Generate strong faith that everything has been completely purified, just as Guru Vajra has said. Guru Vajrasattva is extremely pleased with your promise. Vajrasattva, Father, Mother, melt into light and absorb into you with your body, speech, and mind. Become inseparable with Guru Vajrasattva's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. Then meditation on emptiness. In the Arya's meditative equipoise, focus single-pointedly on emptiness. There is no I, the creator of negative karma, no action of creating negative karma, and no negative karma created. Then a brief dedication. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. May you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Oops. Where'd it go? Okay. We're going to do more extensive dedications at the end. So let's see. I don't want to see this. Okay. Anyway, I should stop share. Okay. So yeah, that's our first kind of mini session. So a few notes. Okay, I should have mentioned, but I think I did mention before. So when we have this recording, okay, then you are to recite the Buddha's names. So, you know, when I say, you know, when the recording is saying, you know, to Tathagata, thoroughly destroying with Vajra essence. Okay, so if you have it memorized, great. If you don't have it memorized, then that should, you know, trigger. And then when you hear that, then you say, and you say it very quickly. So I mentioned this, every time you recite, you get those benefits that we went over last week. So in the span of one prostration, you could probably say the Buddha's name maybe 6 or 7 times, right? Especially some of these shorter ones, right? You know, jewel fire, Tathagata jewel fire, prostrate, Tathagata jewel fire, prostrate, Tathagata jewel fire, prostrate, Tathagata jewel fire, prostrate. You know, here quantity is emphasized. How is the speed, by the way, of that recording? Okay. Okay, good. Then the other thing to mention. So I mentioned the every atom you cover, then for that many eons, right? So that many atoms from here to they call it the Vajra base of the earth, right? Then for that many atoms that your body covers, you collect the merit to be reborn as a wheel-turning king for that many eons, okay? So that's why we visualize the body being huge, covering all the atoms of the earth. And then also, you know, the more, you know, we try to, that's why we do the full length prostration. And then one other thing, our feet, it should come out, right? Not just, you know, kind of under us, but point the toes out. Why? So we cover more atoms. Okay. So I heard this, and I'm not sure it's true, but I wonder then if the hair is covering more atoms, you know? I'm not sure. So then maybe, you know, some of the people with ponytails, then you just let your hair out, let your hair down, and you try to cover more. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay. So that's that. Are there any questions at this point? This is our first time doing this practice. I thought there would be a lot. Either you're experts or you're shy.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Probably a silly one, but I have, when it says talk about breaking vows, if you haven't taken any vows, do you just skip that part? And again, when it says Vajrasattva is my guru, I've never read anything or seen anything about him before. So it seems kind of phony to say that. So what do you do when you encounter those things?
Okay, so Jan, the first mistake was to say this is a silly question. Okay, there's no such thing as a silly question, first of all. Okay, and actually both of these questions are very, very good. Okay, all right. So first point is if you haven't taken vows, then yes, you still repeat those parts in the practice. Why? Because remember, this is from beginningless time. So although you might not have taken the pratimoksha vows in this life, it is certain that you have in one of your past lives, for sure. For sure. Now, my proof of that is that you have a precious human rebirth in this life. Now, you think about that. We can infer the cause due to the effect. So just like when we see smoke, we can say, oh, there must have been a fire. Then from you having this precious human rebirth, you have taken the pratimoksha vows before and you kept them very purely. Okay. Anyway, but regardless, right? So same thing, you know, when we say, oh, committed the 5 uninterrupted karmas without break, right? So hopefully we've all not, you know, like killed our parents and, you know, done those things, but we say it anyway because we're purifying from begingless time. Okay. All right. So second thing, okay. So the emphasis is, you know, our guru appearing in this aspect of Vajrasattva. Okay. So, I mean, let's say, yes, we've never met Vajrasattva in person. Okay. We might be the first time hearing about this practice now, but let's say our guru is His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We think that His Holiness is now appearing in the aspect of Vajrasattva now to help us purify. You understand? So the gurus, right? This is the sort of skillful means of the Buddha, but they can appear in whatever form is necessary according to the disciples' needs, right? So the same guru, you know, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, can appear as Vajrasattva, can appear as Shakyamuni Buddha, can appear as Aryatara, can appear as Medicine Buddha, depending on the particular needs of the situation. So actually, all the 35 Buddhas, right? All the 7 medicine Buddhas were also thinking that is His Holiness the Dalai Lama appearing in these, you know, 42 forms, right? Okay. Other questions? Yours?
Yes, I have a question. I mean, at the end, it always says that you have to imagine that your mind has been completely purified, all negativities have been eliminated, and you have strong faith that this has happened. So it seems to me you do this practice once and then you're done. It's why it seems like if it really works, then why should it do it again tomorrow?
So that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
If it really works, then you shouldn't have to do it tomorrow. But why is the practice not working? Why are we not really purified? Well, one, we're not doing it perfectly, right? Our minds are getting a bit distracted, you know. We don't really have, you know, the real deep sense of regret, right? Although we say these things, oh, death can come at any time. You know, I'm still thinking about, oh, what am I going to have for lunch today? You know, it's a bit superficial, no matter what we say, right? But you're right. If we did it, then we wouldn't have to do anymore. But there is another little thing to mention. Well, even if we purified a lot in this session, okay, we don't have direct realization of emptiness, right? And I'm not sure if our first time that we're going to be, directly realizing emptiness, we're not going to be reciting a mantra at that time, right? We're not going to be, reciting names of Buddhas, right? Probably. I'm not sure. So because of that, let's say, even for the sake of argument, we purified all the negative karma from beginningless time in one, okay? But we haven't abandoned the grasping to true existence. Then we're purified in the meditation session. We get up, right? We go to have lunch. And then what happens? We accumulate new karma, right? So that's what we would have to purify tomorrow. Okay. So nonetheless, I get your doubt, because it's a bit like, it's a bit phony, right? But these kind of skillful means help us, right? Even with some of the things we do in the tantric practice, right? Visualizing ourselves as Avalokiteshvara and so forth, right? That is to loosen our very strong grasping to ourselves as ordinary beings, right? So similarly, you understand? We think, oh, I'm so low, I'm so bad, I'm so, blah. Then even for, 5 minutes on the meditation cushion, I'm Avalokiteshvara, and now I'm going to benefit all sentient beings, It's a very powerful psychological transformation can happen, right? So similarly, if we think, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm so, I've done this, I've done that, oh my gosh. And then, oh, now I'm completely pure, right? It can help us let go. And that itself then can help us break free. Anyway, something like that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so let me cover the questions that came up in the lecture. Okay, oops. Okay, so this was a question that came up, remember, at the end of one class, and I had you all think about it. Okay. Interesting topic about environmental results. It turns out that the problem with the ecology is a result of collective karma. Therefore, it does not matter to work with external results, but we all need to work with our virtues. This leads me to a more fundamental question that if my whole world is a projection of my mind, is there any chance of real interaction with external objects, or am I just watching my dream? And can I only work with my inner content, then to change and observe the reflection outside? Remember this question? You're all thinking about this? Okay, so this is really pointing to something quite fundamental in the kind of Buddhist worldview. And so there are different ways one can think of this, okay? But for me, okay, so on the one hand, you will see these statements, right? Where, like, for example, the great yogi Milarepa, right, who was enlightened in, I don't know, about 1,000 years ago or so, right? He was enlightened in one life, traversed the entire path. And then later, after he was enlightened, someone asked him, oh, where do you live? And he said, in the Oakman Pure Land, Akshtanishta Pure Land, okay? So it's a Pure Land of the Buddha, okay? So the significance there, when they talk about it, is, right, actually he was living in Tibet, right? But since his mind was purified, right, then he viewed his surroundings as the Pure Land of the Buddha, right? So pure mind means pure appearance. Okay. So then that can lead to this thought that, oh, well, you know, I should just work on my mind, and then these kind of outer things, yeah, it's just a projection of my mind, right? And you'll see some statements like this approaching that in the mind-only school as well, right? Okay. But while it's true that, you know, if our mind is pure, then we'll have pure appearance, okay? Our pure appearance then does nothing for the outside in terms of the suffering that other sentient beings are experiencing. So let me put it like this, okay? If, you know, when we start to talk, because here we're talking about ecology, right? And so we learn that, you know, the environmental effect of sexual misconduct is to live in a land with impure environment, okay? So now we walk outside and there's a lot of, you know, litter, okay, a lot of garbage that's been thrown, okay? Well, then we say, okay, yes, I don't like this environmental degradation. So we go back inside, do our Vajrasattva practice, do our, you know, 35 Buddhas, try to purify our mind. And, you know, especially we think, okay, it's from sexual misconduct. So we take vows of celibacy and all this, okay? Okay? Well, I'll tell you what, we walk outside after we do 100,000 Vajrasattvas, 100,000 prostrations, the litter is still going to be there unless someone picks it up. So pick up the litter, right? Okay. That's the point. Yeah. Now, it is also important to, you know, do those other purification practices, but we need both. Okay. We need to both work in the world. Okay. This is on the conventional nature. The conventional reality is that there are things like, you know, pollution. There are, you know, people who are starving. All right. And so we need to do something direct. You know, I mean, can you imagine you run into a beggar and they ask for money and they say, oh, don't worry, I'm going to meditate. I'm not going to give you any money, but I'm going to meditate, right? So we have to do something on both levels, the conventional and the ultimate, okay? All right. So that's one. How does that sound? Okay, here's another question that came up regarding the karmic result of complete action based on its motivational component. How does the white karmic result differ based on different types of virtuous motivation? For example, if a theist chooses not to lie because they view it as simple in the eyes of God, the act of not lying may functionally be exactly the same as someone who does so with a motivation based on the view of renunciation, emptiness, or bodhicitta. Excuse me. But from the perspective of Lamrim Sutrayana, would the karmic result differ? Okay, so this, I think all of you should be able to answer. Okay. Why? All right. So we already knew from the module number 3, presenting the path, that there are these 3 types of motivation, right? Corresponding to the 3 types of practitioner. Okay. So we know that in general, the small scope practitioner wants a good rebirth in their next life. So that motivation will extend to, you know, good results in a future rebirth, but it won't then become the cause of liberation or enlightenment. The middle scope practitioner who wants liberation from samsara from themselves alone, you know, the virtuous actions they do with that motivation will become the cause for liberation, but not for full enlightenment. And then the actions done based on bodhicitta motivation then becomes the cause for full enlightenment. Okay, so based on that, the theist. Okay. Why are they not lying? Okay, so view as sinful in the eyes of God. Well, it's definitely then not for renunciation from samsara, nor is it done to attain complete enlightenment. Okay. Now, it's not maybe explicitly done for a good rebirth in their next life, but my understanding is, there is the thought of heaven, right? So there is some soul or some being that then goes on, and survives personal death, and yeah, one sees as refraining from non-virtue to be a means to attain something good in the afterlife. So from that perspective, it becomes akin to an action done, with the sort of small scope motivation. Okay. Then this next question, similarly, if a person commits to a repentance practice, for example, a confessional in the Catholic tradition, how does the result of that purification compare to, say, a Vajrasattva practice? Okay, so here again, right, we have the 4 opponent powers. And for the purification to be sort of full-fledged, then there needs to be the 4 opponent powers. Okay, so in the confessional, right, there is regret, right? There is regret. There's also restraining from, or committing to restrain to do that action again in the future. Okay, the reliance, right? Refuge. Okay, you're probably taking something like refuge in God. Okay, probably have some element of not wanting to harm others. Okay, but that might be a little bit weak, right? And then I'm not sure, right? Sometimes the priest will tell you to recite 10 Hail Marys or whatever. Yeah. Other times you might be giving food or charity that probably from the Buddhist perspective would be better in terms of a virtuous action, in terms of a remedy, performing charity. So in my opinion, there would be some purification that takes place, but yeah, it probably wouldn't be as strong as Vajrasattva practice. Okay. Yeah. Because I'll say this, I'm not being, how do you say, biased, right? You see, one thing is in the regret, okay, what makes this Vajrasattva practice, the 35 Buddha practice more complete is when we go through all those various types of negativities that we've done from beginningless time, whether we remember it or not, right? So sometimes, you're right, there might be just something done in the past week, so I was raised Catholic, right? So some people, they go on confessional every week, and then they say, oh, okay, this week, I got upset at my my kids, and it's very sort of targeted, right? Not to then think, from beginningless lifetimes, right? So also, I think the overall sense of regret is limited, and therefore the result will be more limited. Anyway, that's my opinion, and those are the reasons why I hold it. Okay. Does that sound okay? At least reasonable, right? Jorge.
Sorry. Hi there. So about the confession thing, is it like I am Catholic, I guess. Is it our fault that we don't, I guess, consider past lifetimes because we're not, I guess, we don't believe in it? So if, let's say, the Pope suddenly says, oh, we're changing a doctrine to say we've had past lives, does that, from, I guess, when you go to confession, you could say, oh, I'm also sorry for the past lives mistakes that I've done. So is that really our fault that we can't think that behind?
See, the fact that you're talking about fault, that shows you're a Catholic too. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, aside from me, my whole family is Catholic, so I have a lot of, you know, I'm not criticizing at all. So, you know, it is interesting because, especially there's some kind of modern scholars that do say in earlier Christian times, right, there was the doctrine of reincarnation even within the Christian church. So some people say that even today. And there's, you know, some modern scholarship that then discusses all that. But anyway, to get to your question. So, you know, we don't like to think about, you know, it's your fault and, you know, have all this baggage on you, right? The point is, you know, based on whatever kind of religious system you're adhering to, then there are, you know, certain doctrine within that. And the standard doctrine might be to, how do you say, deny the existence of past and future lives, or past lives in this case. And, you know, for you, you can then, I don't know, entertain or just think about, oh, why is that? Why in Catholicism do they deny the existence of past lives? Because there is a future life, right? Oh, you can't hear? Oh,
I can hear. I can hear.
yeah, okay. Sorry, I saw Mary Ellen, or maybe she was doing her Milarepa impression. Okay, so you can think about that slowly. And this is not then to say, oh, just believe past lives, or, you know, your purification isn't going to be good. You should also think about what are the reasons that the Buddhists say there are, you know, past and future lives. And you know, these are complex questions, and they're not going to be resolved, you know, easily or quickly. But anyway, again, to be very, very practical. So from now on, you know, it seems all of us, what can we do? We can't change the past. We can try to be better on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, let's just do that. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat. I mean,
Yeah.
I think as a Catholic or ex-Catholic, I don't think we're afraid to change our doctrine to say, okay, now we have past lives, and completely like say, oh, but I spent my whole life believing this is my only life. So I don't think Catholicism is that strict. So I understand it's not difficult to understand that we had past lives, and it's not difficult to understand after death we're going to heaven or another place, but we're not changing like who we are as an individual. I guess that's where I'm stuck at.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. And, you know, I know on other sort of doctrines that the official doctrines of the Catholic Church, you know, I know many who, for example, disagree with, you know, some of the other kind of policies and doctrines of the Catholic Church, but they, you know, still consider themselves to be Catholic and still, you know, go to church every week and so on. So yeah, I know there's a bit of how do you say? They try to make the tent a little bit more open, even though the kind of official doctrine might be in one way. Okay, so any other questions? All right. So let's do our next meditation. And I had thought we would go to about 12:15 your time. So do you need a little break to stretch your legs, powder your nose? Okay. Okay, so we can take a 4-minute break or 5-minute break.
Okay, good.
Okay. So now I'm a little bit sensitive on time. So since we already did the motivation at the beginning, then we can do it in just a briefer way now. So let us go to the hello. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so you can already stand up. And we'll do the prostrations again first. So in a brief way, right, to already generate the opponent power of regret. So thinking of all the negative karmas accumulated since beginningless time, particularly all the 3 types of broken vows, all the negative actions done in relation to the 3 jewels and our gurus from beginningless time, whether we did it in this life or not. And then we'll start just with the multiplying mantras.
Chomdende Dishin Shabaja Chombayan Dabazobe Sangeri Jingya Sanacha Salo Chomdende Dishin Shabaja Chombayan Dabazobe Sangeri Jingya Sanacha Salo Chomdende Dishin Shabaja Chombayan Dabazobe Sangeri Jingya Sanacha Salo Om Namo Bhagavate Nakedura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rana Vijaye Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Nakedura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rana Vijaye Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Kedura Jaya Tathagata Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tayata Om Rane Rane Ma Rane Rana Vijaye Soha Om Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha Om Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha Om Namo Manju Shuye Nama Shu Shuye Nama Utama Shuye Soha Lama Tomba Chondende Deshin Shabaja Chombayan Daba Zobe Sange Pel Gyawa Shakya Tu Palacha Zelo Om Namo Dasha Dekati Kala Ratna Chaya Nama Pradaksha Supradaksha Sava Papam Vishadani Soha Lama Tamba Chondende Deshin Shabaja Chombayan Laba Zobe Sange Peo Yawa Shake Tu Bala Cha Zalo Om Namo Dasha Dekat Tri Kala Ratna Chaya Nama Pradaksha Super Daksha Sava Papam Vishadani Soha Lama Tamba Chondende Deshin Shabaja Chombayan Laba Zobe Sange Peo Yawa Shake Tu Bala Cha Zalo Om Namo Dasha Dekati Kala Ratna Chaya Nama Pradasha Super Daksha Sava Papa Vishadani Soha Lama Tomba Chondende Deshin Shabaja Chombayan Daba Sobe Sange Pel Gyawa Shaketu Bala Cha Zalo Om Namo Dasha Dekati Kala Ratna Chaya Nama Pradasha Super Daksha Sava Papa Vishadani Soha. Homage to the confession of a Bodhisattva's downfalls. I, throughout all times, take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. To the Guru, Teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, I prostrate. To Tathagata, thoroughly destroying with Vajra essence, I prostrate. To Tathagata, radiant jewel, I prostrate. To Tathagata, King, Lord of the Nagas, I prostrate. To Tathagata, army of heroes, I prostrate. To Tathagata, delighted hero, I prostrate. To Tathagata, delighted fire, I prostrate. To Tathagata, jewel moonlight, I prostrate. To Tathagata, meaningful to see, I prostrate. To Tathagata, jewel moon, I prostrate. To Tathagata, stainless one, I prostrate. To Tathagata, bestowed with courage, I prostrate. To Tathagata, pure one, I prostrate. To Tathagata, bestowed with purity, I prostrate. To Tathagata, water god, I prostrate. To Tathagata, deity of the water god, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious goodness, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious sandalwood, I prostrate. To Tathagata, infinite splendor, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious light, I prostrate. To Tathagata, sorrowless glory, I prostrate. To Tathagata, son of non-craving, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious flower, I prostrate. To Tathagata, pure light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To Tathagata, lotus light rays, clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious wealth, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious mindfulness, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious name, widely renowned, I prostrate. To Tathagata, King holding the victory banner of foremost power, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious one, totally subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata, utterly victorious in battle, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious transcendence through subduing, I prostrate. To Tathagata, glorious manifestations, illuminating all, I prostrate. To Tathagata, all subduing, jewel lotus, I prostrate. To Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King of the Lord of Mountains, firmly seated on jewel and lotus, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellent signs, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King of melodious sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with jewels, moon, and lotus, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, stainless excellent gold, illuminating jewel, who accomplishes all conduct, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious Supreme One, free from sorrow, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, melodious ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King, clearly knowing by play, of supreme wisdom of an ocean of Dharma, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, medicine guru, King of Vaidurya light, I prostrate. To Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha.
Okay, so continuing with the confession prayer, so you can kneel on your right knee. Okay. All you 35 Buddhas, 7 medicine Buddhas, and others, as many Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha Bhagavans as there are abiding, living and residing in all wisdoms of the 10 directions, all you Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and all states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara from beginningless lives, whatever negative actions I have created, made others create or rejoice in the creation of, whatever possessions of holy objects of offering, possession of the Sangha, possession of the Sangha of the 10 directions that I have appropriated, made others appropriate or rejoice in the appropriation of, whichever among the 5 heavy negative karmas without break I have done, cause to be done or rejoice in the doing of, whichever of the 10 non-virtuous paths of actions I've engaged in cause others to engage in or rejoice in the engaging of. Whatever I've done being obscured by these karmas that caused me to be reborn as a hell being, as any being in the hell realm, in the animal realm, or in the preta realm, in an irreligious country, as a barbarian, or as a long-life god with imperfect faculties, holding wrong views, or not being pleased with the Buddha's descent, in the presence of the Buddha Bhagavans, who are transcendental wisdom, who are eyes, who are witnesses, who are valid, and who see with omniscient consciousness, I admit and confess all these negative actions. I do not conceal them nor hide them, and from now on in the future, I'll abstain and refrain from committing them again. All Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me in this life and in the other states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara from the beginningless lives. Whatever roots of virtue I have created by generosity, even as little as giving just one mouthful of food to a being born in the animal realm. Whatever roots of virtue I've created by guarding morality, whatever roots of virtue I've created by following pure conduct, whatever roots of virtue I've created by fully ripening sentient beings, whatever roots I've created by generating bodhicitta, whatever roots of virtue I've created by my unsurpassed transcendental wisdom, all these assembled and gathered, then combined together, I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed, the unexcelled, that higher than the high, that superior to the superior. Thus, I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly complete enlightenment, just as the past Buddha Bhagavans have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddha Bhagavans will fully dedicate, and just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavans are fully dedicating, like that I too dedicate fully. I confess all negative actions individually. I rejoice in all merits. I urge and request all Buddhas, may I achieve the supreme, holy, and peerless transcendental wisdom to the conquerors, the best of humans, who are living in present time, who have lived in the past, and who will likewise come. All those whose qualities are vast as the infinite ocean, with hands folded, I approach for refuge. Woe is me. Great Guru Vajrasattva, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas who abide in 10 directions and all the Venerable Sangha, please pay attention to me. I, who am named as a Namjong, circling a cycle of existence from beginningless time until the present, overpowered by the afflictions such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance, by means of my body, speech, and mind, have committed the 10 non-virtuous actions, committed the 5 heavy negative karmas without break, and committed the 5 nearing heavy negative karmas without break. I have transgressed the vow of individual liberation, transgressed the vows of bodhisattvas, transgressed the samaya of secret mantra. I've been disrespectful to my parents, disrespectful to my Vajra masters and my abbot, and disrespectful to my spiritual friends living in ordination. I have committed actions harmful to the 3 sublime ones, abandoned the holy dharma, criticized the Arya Sangha, harmed sentient beings, and so on. These and many other non-virtuous negative actions I have done, have caused others to do, have rejoiced in others doing, and so forth. In the presence of the great Guru Vajradhara, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who abide in the 10 directions and the Venerable Sangha, I admit this entire collection of faults and transgressions that are obstacles to my own higher rebirth and liberation and causes of psychic existence and the lower realms. I do not conceal them and I accept them as negative. I promise to refrain from doing these actions again in the future. By confessing and acknowledging them, I will attain and abide in happiness, while by not confessing and acknowledging them, true happiness will not come. So you can sit down and then think that through the power of having recited the Buddha's names, then purifying light rays come down. Nectar and light rays then totally purify you of all the negative karmas accumulated since the beginning of this time. And think that your mind has become completely pure. Then to think that these, the creator of negative karma, the action of creating negative karma and the negative karma itself are completely empty of inherent existence from their own side, independent existence. Since they don't exist in this independent manner, yet they do exist as depending on other factors. Since they depend on other factors, they then can be purified before they bring the suffering result. And then the mantra of pure morality, Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shila Saba Pemo Bibugita Buja Dara Dara Samanta Avadavide Humbe Soha. Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shila Saba Pemo Bibugita Buja Dara Dara Samanta Avadavide Humbe Soha. Om Amagashila Sam Bara 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 Ma Shila Saba Pemo Bibugita Buja Dara Dara Samanta Avalokite Humbe Soha. So, in interest of time, we'll just do 3. By abiding in faultless morality of Dharma rules, completely pure morality and morality, free from conceit, may I complete the perfection of morality. Okay. Then, oops. Going on to the Vajrasattva. Here, visualization. You know all sentient beings in space around you, and the Guru in the aspect of Vajrasattva in the space in front. Then remembering the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and aspiring to attain those qualities. Then we go for refuge. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merits of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So then generating the power of regret. So here the definition of negative karma, any action that results in suffering. And generally, this is an action motivated by ignorance, attachment, or anger. So then just in a brief way, as we've done before, then think of all these negative karmas that we've accumulated since beginningless time. Particularly the 10 non-virtues, the broken 3 types of vows, and then the negative actions done in relation to powerful fields of merits like our parents, as well as the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and our Guru. Then thinking about the drawbacks of these negative karmas, that they cause us to be reborn in the lower realms, that they cause us then to have the experience, congruent with the action, even when born in the higher realms. And then all the environmental effects that they bring as well. And also that they prevent us from attaining the higher realizations like bodhicitta, realization of emptiness, liberation, enlightenment. So thinking of all those drawbacks, then we need to purify because we can't bear the thought of experiencing those faults of our negative karma. Then remembering impermanence and death, thinking especially we can die today. We can die in this very session. Therefore, before we die, and especially now that we have this opportunity to purify, we must make the utmost effort in doing that. And then this effort is not only so we can avoid being reborn in the lower realms in our next life, but also thinking about sentient beings. Every moment that goes by when we're not enlightened means that that's one more moment that we're not offering the utmost benefit to sentient beings. In that way, each moment that goes by, sentient beings are suffering tremendously. And therefore, we need to purify with the utmost urgency, thinking how all sentient beings are relying on us, all the sentient beings that we will liberate and lead to enlightenment once we are enlightened. They are, as it were, waiting for us to become enlightened. So therefore, without even a second's delay, we need to attain enlightenment. And therefore, we need to purify all of these negative karmas by practicing this Vajrasattva meditation. So now think at the crown of your head is a Vajrasattva holding a Vajra and bell. Vajrasattva is adorned with the 6 mudras. Think that Vajrasattva is your own root guru. Means your guru is manifesting now, appearing in the form of Vajrasattva, who is the holy mind of all the Buddhas, the Dharmakaya. Out of unbearable compassion encompassing me and all of the sentient beings, my root guru appears in this form to purify me and all sentient beings. So then at the center of Vajrasattva's heart, there is a moon disk upon which stands an upright syllable Hong, encircled by the garland of the 100-syllable mantra. Then as we recite the mantra, a powerful stream of white nectar flows from the Hong and the mantra garland, entering the crown of my head and filling my entire body. All negative karmas, obscurations, sicknesses, and spirit harms are completely purified. So we'll chant the long mantra once out loud, then a few times more silently, and then we will switch to the Vajrasattva mantra. But in the future, when you, if you want to do the recording, you can just hit pause and recite as many mantras as you want, 10 malas or something. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Malupalaya Vajrasattva Tenoba Dira Mebava Sudokayo Mebava Subakayo Mebava Anunato Mebava Savasiri Mebaya Sava Kama Suchame Chitam Shiyam Kuruhum Ha O Bhagavan Savadadagada Vajramame Munza Vajrabhava Ma Samaya Sava Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Malupalaya Om Vajrasattva, Om Vajrasattva, Om Vajrasattva. Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum. Through ignorance and delusion, I have broken and degenerated my commitments. Guru, be my savior and refuge. Lord, holder of the Vajra, endow with great compassion. In you, the foremost of beings, I take refuge. Before Guru Vajrasattva, I vow never again to commit those negative actions from which I can easily abstain. I vow not to commit those negative actions from which I find it difficult to abstain for even 1 minute. From the crown of my head, Guru Vajrasattva says, son of the lineage, your negative karmas, obscurations, and broken and degenerated samayas have been completely purified. Guru Vajrasattva is extremely pleased with your promise. Vajrasattva melts into light and absorbs into you. Your body, speech, and mind become inseparably one with Guru Vajrasattva's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. The I, the creator of negative karma, the action of creating negative karma, and the negative karma itself is completely empty of existing from its own side. Okay, and then we'll do the dedications for the session. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. And particularly, we can think that this Bodhicitta arise in all of the world leaders, especially Vladimir Putin. And then all these beings, once they have generated Bodhicitta, may all of their actions never cause even the slightest harm to a single sentient being. And instead, may all their actions be only motivated by the wish to offer the utmost benefit to others. Then, for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. For the long life of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunatha's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the three sublime ones, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And to seal the dedication with the understanding of emptiness, due to all the past, present, future merits collected by me, the numberless Buddhas and numberless sentient beings, which are completely empty of existing from their own side, may I, who am completely empty of existing from my own side, achieve the state of Vajrasattva, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are completely empty of existing from their own side to that state of Vajrasattva, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, by myself alone, who am completely empty of existing from my own side. And these dedications from the King of Prayers, I fully dedicate all these virtues to be able to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality, and just like Samantabhadra as well. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praise is the best by all the gone beyond victorious ones of the 3 times in order to have good conduct. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So now, yeah, I am leaving Hawaii on Monday, suffering of impermanence. But impermanence, things are changing. So it has a, it's neutral. They can change for the better or for the worse. And in some aspects, they can be better, in other aspects be worse. So on then Tuesday, I will be at Ocean of Compassion in Campbell, and I hope to meet many of you there. Mary Ellen, let's talk about how that meet and greet is going to work. So in the meantime, I think you have all these practice texts, so it'd be good now that we've gone through it together. You can go through it on your own. Please try to do the practice as much as you can, especially in these days of miracles, where the multiplying effect of our virtue is, 100 million times. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you on Tuesday. Even if you're not going to show up in person, we'll have a hybrid session, so we'll also be on Zoom. Mary Ellen will send out the details later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Urs.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.